All right, it's now 3 p.m. How's that? All right, anyway, welcome to the Indian Wells Valley Board of Directors Finance Committee meeting. Today's Tuesday, June 3rd, and we'll call the meeting to order at 3 o'clock. I'm still using this one. Okay, with that, I will go ahead and see if there's any committee or public comments. Anything? No one out there? All right. Fraud risk discussion, Ty?
Nothing to report.
Always good news. All right. Groundwater imported water costs. Discuss imported water costs and potential impact to the customer bills. This might be a good time to bring up the audits we were asking for. I guess George was able to get one for 2022 from GA, and 2023 isn't available because they were waiting on something from us. They claimed it was held up because of the credits and whatever for the replenishment fee.
Yeah, I've had a couple discussions with the GA staff, just going over the worksheets with the replenishment fee.
For
and how much we pay.
2023,
Yeah.
are they still,
It's been a couple months since the last time I talked to them, so I'm sure they're just gathering information for their auditors.
so if the 23 is just coming out, I expect the 2024 audit might be another year or two. Anyway, when you get hand on those, get them into Tide, have them take a quick look
Yeah,
at it, see if we have any money in there. I think our clients, our ratepayers like to know where the replenishment fee is.
Yeah, Ty, I mean, in particular, like if from that audit, you can decipher, oh, I've got this mic
I'm
over here.
live. I'm live. Yeah.
I only need one mic, I guess. So if you could decipher sort of like of the replenishment of that fee that was paid up until that point, sort of how much has been diverted and is owed back into that account, if that's possible, though.
Yeah, it's just.
It is. I looked through it. I don't remember the numbers. I looked through it and I could find them. I could identify.
They have, I don't want to belabor this, I want to move on, but they have supposedly 1, 2, 3, 4 sources of money. One is the mitigation fee, one is the pumping fee, and one is the replenishment fee. And I guess all other grants and things might be another source. And I'm wondering whether those fees are identified separately, just saying I have this much money in the bank. Well, how much is replenishment, how much mitigation, and how much pumping? And I don't know if you'll be able to tell that.
Yeah, they haven't broken out. Well,
good.
at least 2 of them. At
Okay.
least the pumping fee and the replenishment. I don't remember.
Mitigations.
I'll have to look.
Yeah, well, when you get a chance, and you're only going to see 2022, we really need to see 23 and 24. So I don't want to belabor it. I want to get into it, but I do get questions about, hey, by the way, all that replenishment fee we're paying, where is it and what's it being used for? So it'd be nice to be able to say it exists somewhere if you can figure it out.
And I did want to ask the board members, I was thinking about putting together a quick note about into the upcoming board meeting about how the current AB 1413 and 1466 sort of drive the discussion about, whether you would or wouldn't need a pipeline and the cost associated with it as sort of a reminder to the public about what this is really about. Maybe 2 or 3 slides that talk about, here's what these bills are. This is why they're really important, because they're going to impact, they ultimately drive the building of the pipeline. That seems to be the purpose. And that in turn drives costs that we feel are unacceptable.
I agree. I think anything we get into the public's eye and as transparent as we can be all the time, I don't see a problem with that. I think that what I would do is make sure that it's when you talk about those particular bills, especially about, and I always come to what the president at Searles Valley Minerals said, Dennis, he always says this: we can't have a solution till we actually know what the problem is. And that's what, in my opinion, those 2 bills are preventing happening. How can we determine the problem?
Yeah.
And so however you go about it, I don't have a problem with that. I think the more we get out there in the public, the more we say, the more we get out there. I want to be as transparent as we can in all this and all our feelings as the board members when we talk about it.
Well, it would be it would be good for the public to know and understand that, like, we've invested a considerable amount of money in science, in the best science, in the latest science.
Yes.
And that it would obviate any actual use of that great science and any opportunity for that to be looked at.
And I think in finance committee is not a bad place to discuss it because you come at it from the angle of if we don't do this, if we don't fight for our ratepayers, these are the potential impacts. So I don't have a problem with it. Do you have a problem if he has a short presentation at a board meeting like that about the two
No,
bills? I
I'm
think
fine with that.
it's a great
I
idea.
think, the more transparency we have, it's on our side.
Right.
The more transparency we have,
Right.
the better we look.
Good deal.
Okay.
All right. But don't make it like, really long and boring because these guys fall asleep. And I'm just kidding.
I don't know that it's possible for me to be not really long and boring. I'm an engineer, what can I say?
Okay. Anything else to say on the imported water costs? I like keeping it on here because things come up every now and then. Yeah.
Nothing in particular right now.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see how much we spend here soon. I can see it's on the next thing. Financial statements.
Okay, so we are 11 months into the fiscal year. You see revenues coming in over budget. We're at 15,500,000, which is 1.8 million, better than budget for this time of the year. Our expenditures are also over budget, 16,650,000, which is 900,000 over budget. So we're still at a negative $1 million net, but that is 915,000 better than we anticipated being at this
At the
point,
budget,
as
yeah.
far as the net is concerned.
It's funny how all this, we won't see the finals until you go through the last month and then all the catch up the following month and everything. Yeah.
Right. Then all the accruals, yep.
And all the accruals and all that will come in here.
Well, it's actually not going through the last month, it's going through the month after the last.
That's
month.
right. That's why I say it goes one more month after
Yeah.
the 12th month of the cycle.
Yep.
Yeah, till,
By August, we'll have a pretty good idea of what we did.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the rest there, just capital expenditures at 7.6 million. Of that, non-rate revenue funded capital is just under 6.4 million. Debt service principal, 1.1 million. And then to date, we have paid the GA $17,255,799.
Okay. And 14 million in replenishment fee.
Yeah. And I wanted to just make a comment. Ty and I were discussing this. We went to that conference and there was a guy who was giving a budget presentation and he asked the question, what's a balanced budget? And of course I had a very generic view that like, oh, that means the amount of money you collected is exactly equal to the amount of money you paid in bills that year. And that's not actually true, correct, Ty?
It's not true. There are times, and this is why you have them, where the board may decide to go into reserves. I mean, that is a perfectly reasonable way. You don't want to use up all of your reserves. And you want to be smart about when you do use your reserves. But that, yeah, a balanced statement or balanced budget does not necessarily mean the
Yeah.
same amount of revenue as
Yeah.
expenditures.
So you could be putting money in the savings and have a balanced budget instead
Right.
of calling it a surplus budget, or you could be dipping into your savings and it would still be called a balanced budget, which is, I'm not the money guy. I thought it was just an interesting term that gets thrown around. And I think the way that we think about it isn't necessarily how the state defines it in the regulations and how it's really used in practice. So it's just something that, I'm always learning. This was something I found interesting.
Well, we know the state plays loosey-goosey with it.
Yeah.
In their budget.
But of course, as a finance guy like me, I do want to see positive.
Yeah, I know. You always want to see positive.
And we all want to see positive, money going in, but
By the way, George, I tried to find some information on that on Google,
Mhm.
looking it up. And quite frankly, I didn't find a uniform, more of them said it's when the outflows equal the inflows than
Yeah.
anything else. But obviously, at any given year, we can make the determination that we want to spend part of our reserve. I mean,
Yeah, no,
that's just fine, as long as we don't spend the reserve down to the point where in an emergency, we wouldn't have a problem. But
And so as it gets more complicated, this is the other thing Ty and I talked about was that like, this is why we really only do that, is it, you call it the net statement of,
Statement of net position.
statement of net position, which really says this is how much, this is the real calculation of our assets went up this much, our savings went up this much,
It's essentially your value.
how much your net worth. It's kind of like if you were doing a mortgaging your house, you have to tell everything, and they look at all that. So it's so complicated, we can't do it all the time. We try to get to it once a year in that big audit, and we do great in the audit, and it's fantastic. But as I learn more about I'll just say the way the water district does its budget versus some of my other jobs, it's interesting to learn.
Well, you work for the government. They don't really, they sort of say they have a budget.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
the government just has
I get
money, yeah.
They just, yeah, you need some money, you get it. And what complicates it, Stan, when you're looking for an explanation of these kind of things, is every industry is different. Every industry could different, every board of directors, their finance department will set it up to, and you're just not gonna find a standard of it. So we look for a standard in our industry, which was what you guys went to, yeah,
And those standards are generally defined by the state, correct?
a lot of them,
A lot of them.
yeah.
Oh, there's this other reference.
It also GAP and
Yeah.
governmental accounting standards.
Standards,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, by the way, Ron, this might be a good point, or time to remind you that you and I have a class, an aqua class in September
Yeah, like September, and it's,
on budgeting.
yeah, we could actually sit in the conference room and do it, I think, because it's going to be a video. And I think Amber's going to remind us. She's going to.
Yep,
Because
I'm going to sit in on that one as
He's
well.
gonna sit in.
Obviously,
George
I'm older.
volunteered, I think, to join us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. I don't see anything here. So unless there's questions from the public, no public out there. I don't think they like our committee meetings. We'll move on to the accounts payable disbursements, which I've sort of glanced at already.
Okay. Ron?
Yes.
This is page one.
That's right. Yeah,
So let's
yeah,
go through-
let's just go by page, right. This Kern County Future Source of Supply, is that depositing money into our
Your source of supply.
reserve account?
Reserve, yes.
Okay.
10,000 a month.
It's always nice to see something go into our reserve account. All right. Neutral, okay. So the only questions I had as I glanced through these. Who's Brentag?
Our
Just-
chemical supplier.
Chemical, okay, all right. CalPERS goes without saying. Ferguson, is that the pipe?
That's pipe.
Yeah. I remember that one. See, I'm not going out totally.
So we got some
Go ahead.
interesting bills, like things that I wouldn't and have thought about. Wasn't a huge bill, it was like $18,000, but it was for the court reporter in the trial. When we just get that one, Ty?
Yeah, we need to change professions. They make a lot of money.
Court reporters, yes.
And that was split a number of ways. That was
Yeah.
our portion of it. It was,
Which was 1/3 of half
So I
of it.
wouldn't want to be a court reporter, though.
No.
I think it would drive me literally crazy
I'm not-
to keep up with everybody.
Yeah, I'm telling you, right? Everybody talking and getting everything down. Right.
might be
Did that
crazy.
come directly to us or does that go through McMurtry Harstock?
No, so it goes directly to us, and then we have the option of just paying our portion and making sure the other participating parties pay theirs, or we pay it all and try to get,
Which one did you opt for?
I haven't yet, because I haven't discussed.
Just
it
got it?
With George yet. Yeah, we
Okay.
just got it yesterday.
Okay.
And that's kind of one of those ones that I just didn't anticipate. I assume it's just part of the overall legal fees, but
Right.
yeah, it's just things you actually go to trial, things you got to think about.
Everybody collects their dime on everything you do these days.
Oh, I thought that the court reporter was a person that worked for the court.
I did too.
By our tax money. That's
Yeah.
why I thought it was surprising.
No, they're independents. They come in there and get paid. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
it's a heck.
fee anymore.
They have a good labor
The state
negotiator.
doesn't do anything. It just seems.
No.
Every time you want them to do something, you got to pay them to do it
Well,
on an individual basis.
I think,
It's sad.
yeah, well, I think it's interesting as AI develops. This is the kind of job that I think, artificial intelligence can, once it gets good to the voice recognition, you don't see why that couldn't.
Where does our gasoline fuel bill get charged? How do I see that? I'll tell you why I'm asking it. Not that I need to see it, but does it just come in on the bank card when they use it to fill up trucks and things, or?
For the gasoline,
It-
yes.
Yes.
That would be in the Cal card.
Is that the credit card, US
Yeah.
Bank?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that's on the page one.
I see that, yeah. And the
Now,
reason-
if it's diesel, then we pay that separately.
Okay.
We're invoiced for that, and then we divvy it out.
But
based on-
gasoline filling up cars and trucks and things like that are just on a card?
Yep.
Because if, correct me if I'm wrong, aren't we going to get, the state's going to add 57 cents per gallon starting July 1st?
You're wrong, 64 cents.
Oh, 55, I was in the ballpark.
Yeah, I was looking at that. It could, it's
54
up
cents.
to 64 cents for that whole carbon recapture.
Well, what it is,
thing.
it's going to the
Yeah.
the California EPA to fight climate change.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing at the pumps right now, filling up your car, add
The gas has gone up.
54 cents to July 1st, 54
There's
cents.
that, plus the yearly costs of inflation adjustment they do too for the gas tax. So you're
Yeah.
you're gonna get hit multiple times.
Well, yeah, then there's the double whammy, which is if you bought an electric car, aren't they starting to now put more taxes on people who applied solar to their house and are using electric vehicles? Like a lot of the
I don't know.
sort of previous credits to incentivize electric vehicles are,
Well, they want to put mileage tax.
They're
Now-
gonna do a mileage tax on electric.
Yeah.
so there's a mileage tax on electric.
So
tax on
that's why I'm
electric
keeping my old
vehicles.
truck. There's no way to track my old truck.
From what I've heard is that for people who've installed solar and they're trying to put a infrastructure sort of maintenance thing, so to pay for the lines and poles that,
Oh, yeah, for the new tiers for solar.
It's
for
going to
the new
based on
ones.
income too.
Yeah.
So if you have solar at your house,
Income?
based on your income, so if you're very low income and you have solar, you might pay $25 a month, but as your income goes up, that $25 goes up. Mine's going to be about $55.
well, it makes you wonder what we're gonna end up paying
Yeah.
ultimately in the long run for having
to have
installed solar on our,
I know,
Oh,
it's just, everything they can get out of you, they're going to get.
Are we on page
No,
2?
I'm on page 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the very bottom, we're still paying Southern California Edison. Well, do we have a plan on when we're going to get our solar fields working again?
Yeah, so we've already got the quotes for the work that needs to be done. There's a little more investigation that needs to go on, an issue with SCE that came up today that we're looking into, but we do have 125,000 planned in the CIP budget for next year. We've had the security trailer in place. We've had no attempts.
Okay.
So we're probably going to move forward with that pretty quickly in the new year.
Okay.
Great.
there was a problem on the Southern California Edison's side at our solar fields today. Is that what I heard?
That's correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
It had a little arc.
We're connected, obviously we're connected to the grid. So if the grid goes down,
yeah, the wells weren't affected, but now our solar
Goes
fields
down,
were
we
taken
go
off.
to generators.
generators, that's what I meant. We go to generators and you, even in the middle of the day, produced solar power isn't going into the grid 'cause they shut you down.
Right.
Yeah, it just stops. Yeah. Wonderful. Gotcha. All right, I'm,
Nothing more on 2. or
okay,
3.
I'm going to the 3. I don't see anything on 3. I see United Rentals. Is that for the equipment for the work we're doing?
Yeah, it's for a forklift as well as a excavator.
Excavator?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right. That was page 3. Page 4, I don't have anything on. And the last page,
Good with 4.
yeah, I'm on the last page now. Is all the pipe here now? Is this the last big bill we're gonna see out of Ferguson?
Yep.
Okay,
For now.
yeah, for now.
What is Amazon Capital Services?
So we do have an Amazon account, which comes in handy for, office supplies and
Okay,
sometimes
so
we use
it's
it for equipment. There's sometimes it's just cheaper and quicker to get it off Amazon if,
Probably shouldn't ask this. What's,
I just want to,
Yeah.
it's mostly, office supplies.
yeah,
that kind of thing.
yep.
so did I run a toll road? I see a toll roads violation department. Did I?
Not
get a
just
ticket?
one, you ran two.
Did I?
Yes.
It was
Somewhere,
me.
somewhere along the way of going down to the court and taking the wrong road.
Wow. Yeah, I think you
That
should
was-
really- you know what, and I'm looking at that and I'm thinking like, I think I remember, like, we're driving and I'm like, I think I'm on a toll road. It's just
I
like,
wonder if did they have a picture of him too, you know, who's driving?
They don't send pictures anymore.
yeah.
Send pictures
So,
and you're like, clearly that's.
This
not
is,
my
this is
license.
my version of being honest and transparent with the public. You're, that was not good on me. I'm sorry. Wow.
That's two of them, huh? That's our, they're going there and coming back.
You were in LA, it's probably cheaper to pay the toll than to pay the salaries of being stuck in traffic. So.
That's right, yeah. You're
I-
probably right.
Yeah, I don't know, yeah, well.
I'm glad you
That's what-
pointed out.
I was, in self-defense, I was following what Google told me to do. Didn't tell me I was about to get a fine.
You know, Google gets a kickback from the state, yeah.
They,
no.
yeah, route them through the toll road so we can write them oh my God, how embarrassing.
Well, we won't let this drop. We'll make fun of you for
Oh,
what, a
I'm
month or
sure
two?
I'm sure you will. Probably shouldn't have pointed it out, but I figured it was me.
I don't see anything that's glaring at me except that darn toll road violation. That bothers me.
Yeah, yeah. Holy cow.
Do you see anything on here, Stan? Any more questions?
Well, I thought I saw a telephone somewhere early, and then I saw another one for Verizon down below. Do we have,
So we have Verizon. Yeah, we have Verizon for our landlines. I think we have 3 left. And then we have T-Mobile for our cell
Yeah.
service.
okay,
Yeah, there's T-Mobile on page.
okay.
Yeah, there's T-Mobile and there's Verizon. Yep. All right. Anything else? Any questions on this before we maybe,
No, sir.
do you want to recommend we let them pay the bills?
Yeah, I recommend that,
You sure you don't want to
Well,
make the
I
general
have to
manager pay
recommend-
his bill out of his
Okay.
own pocket?
We want you to pay these except for that one and collect it from George. Now, yeah, we will recommend to the board that we go ahead and pay the accounts payable. All right. With that, anything else? Future agenda items, fun stories, jokes about George's driving? Nothing? I guess, okay, with that, I will go ahead and close this session at, I know that clock's wrong. I'm sorry, Stan, do you have anything else? Hang on.
On future agenda items.
Yes.
We talked at our last board meetings about trying to come up with a way of synchronizing better our revenue with the expenses so that we didn't have to wait 30 days, or, well, we could we may still wait 30 days, no matter what we do, but it would be nice to synchronize our revenue with the expenses on so for any given month, we're comparing apples with apples.
Are we talking about the water use?
Pardon?
Are we talking about the water use where we have like 1 month, like how we,
Well,
I know I'm supposed to do that for
yeah,
water
it's-
use and you'll see
it's
that.
how we bill our water use versus how we bill our outgoing.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm working on that and you'll see it next week or next week, you'll see it.
So we're only talking about income, right? Because expenses are based on everything you issued that month, right?
Yeah, I would think the expenses were pretty timely.
Yeah, they're pretty timely for the month, yeah.
Pretty much up
It's-
to date. It's the revenue
George, do you have a handle on that?
probably is
Or
behind.
at least an idea what he's asking for?
I do, I believe we're good.
Okay, do we need to put it on the agenda or is it just
So
something?
it's under the general manager's report.
Okay, it'll be on a general manager report? Okay,
I'm sorry, I guess I was thinking we would talk about it in this committee before we took it to the board.
Okay, so maybe I'm confused. When we were at the last board meeting, I thought, so there was a difference. We had the amount of
I
water.
didn't mean today. I meant,
Okay,
like, next month, we can talk about it.
Okay.
and then Take it to the board next month.
okay,
We've been
perfect.
doing this now for 5 or 10 years. It's not like 1 month is gonna
Okay.
Okay.
difference.
How, if you can put on the agenda, if you want to briefly talk about it, I don't have a problem with it. I'm going to leave that up to you, George and
Yeah.
Kai. I got a note here from Anita at Meadowbrook, who happens to be listening to us. And she says this, I was just listening to your meeting. There is a toll road scam. We get bills from them all the time. Make sure you check. It could be a scam. So, yeah.
Yeah,
We-
no,
we-
I
we
get those
appreciate-
text messages. It's amazing that they, like, I've gone through actual toll roads and within 2 minutes, you get a text message saying, hey, you should, and it comes from a 9-4, like, out of the country prefix. And it's like, oh, you need to pay your toll and do this. And it is a scam. And I looked it up because I was like, that's weird. So normally, I assume the bills that we paid came in the mail from the,
They came in
Came in
the
the mail,
mail.
and just so you know, somebody who may have gone with you said, we were on some toll roads, just so you know.
Yeah. And anyway, thank you, Anita. And she ends it
take
with,
full responsibility.
Anita ends it with, you guys are doing a great job. So thank you, Anita, and thank you for listening. With that, if there's nothing else, nothing? I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 3:25 is what I have. Thank you.